Hi guys, welcome to another bowling analysis video. So today we'll be looking at one of the viewers who actually contacted me via WhatsApp and submitted a video for me to review. So our viewer here is Brandon, who actually comes from the land of giants. He mentioned it himself, from Sweden. So they are all averagely tall dude, and if anyone is remembers that Sweden is also the land of where Jesper Svensson comes from, which is a very famous two-handed bowler, also extremely tall. So Brendan here actually mentioned that he's a casual bowler, just started bowling. He started bowling as a one-hander and recently came back to the sport and was interested to learn two-handed bowling. So wanted me to give him take a look at his bowling form and then give him some pointers. So I'll try my best to give him some constructive pointers here. So I'm gonna mute it. Okay. And we're gonna play it again. So he has submitted a few videos. So first and foremost, we can notice that Brandon is indeed quite a giant. He's compared to me, an Asian guy. I'm pretty short for an Asian guy as well. I'm only 1.6 meters in height, while Brandon is a giant compared to me. I think he mentioned he's 1.92, 1.9 or 1.93 or 1.92 meters in height. So you can notice that he has long arms, long legs, and he is actually having issues trying to get low to the floor, but he's actually doing a pretty decent job of getting as close to the so-called approach as possible during release. Actually, he's doing a pretty good job. So he does have some pretty good athletic talent there. And let's go back here. And there's another video here, so I'll max it out and we'll watch. So again, I'll mute it. So those are some background bowling alley music. Brandon himself, he mentioned that he's struggling with keeping his arm swing from warping during his backswing. So basically, he's like, I think in this particular video, which is a little bit earlier, you don't see it that obviously, but in his part 3 video, which is submitted to me, it was more obvious. Okay, let me just scroll through the previous messages that Brendan sent. Okay, so it's not too bad, and he celebrated earlier. He got a strike. Okay, it's in this part 3 that he mentions that yep, you can see his backswing start to warp here. So we'll take note of his issues here. This one. So in particular, it's here where you can see his backswing starts to warp behind. It actually isn't too bad, but if you compare with his swing plane a little bit earlier, so he himself notices that there are issues in his swing, which is let's box it out. Like in this area, he calls it the push away. So for us, we like to call it in Singapore, we like to call it the ball placement, but I believe in European and as well as the US, people still call it the push away. Reason why in Singapore we distance ourselves from the word push away is because we actually do not want our bowlers to push the ball too far away from the front of their body during the start of the swing. So in order to eliminate that habit, we eliminate the use of the word push. So instead, we renamed it. We call it a ball placement, and we explain to bowlers that we just want the bowler to place the ball into the swing. So the motion of the word placing, it is a lot more gentler and it is a lot more retracted. So that means the bowler doesn't have an image of pushing the ball away from the front of their body. So that's why we eliminate the word push away. So we call it ball placement. So during his ball placement, as well as on the downswing, Brandon notices that from his video that he took, that he kind of swings the ball outwards. And then because of this swinging outward motion, he ends up with a warp backswing this way, right? So this is also a very natural consequence of his placing motion, his ball placement motion, because he tends to, so we can see here, he actually took a photo of it and he showed me, he tends to place it to the outside. And what happens is that if you're a bowler who does this, maybe I can take, you will have this circular motion. So I don't know if this is a good enough way to show what he's doing, but basically because you're pushing the ball around your hips, you're placing the ball around your hips, so your ball obviously will swing around, and continuing that motion will swing to the back of your spine, which is what happens later as we play. So it swings to the back of his spine, and obviously when it comes down, it will swing again to the outside. And actually, Brandon did a pretty good job in this particular shot to try his best to keep it straight. He redirected it towards the release point. So I would believe that that warp backswing motion is mostly a result of his ball placement. Another reason I suspect that Brandon could be doing this is that maybe he tries to do his two-handed arm swing a little bit too high. So for this is a very common issue for bowlers who are converting from one-handed to two-handed. I faced the same issue as well because I was previously a one-handed bowler for more than 10 years. I was actually I was doing the Taiwanese spinner style or the helicopter spinning style, which is very popular in places like Taiwan. So when I learned bowling, it was popular in my country of Singapore as well. That was like 20 plus years ago. So I was a one-handed spinner for many years, and when I converted to a two-hander, I have the same issue as Brandon here, which whereby my backswing would warp behind, like almost to the back of my spine during the backswing, and obviously it affected my release and my accuracy because obviously if we were to continue the motion of release, the ball would go towards the right and it will go towards the right gutter during release. If Brandon was to continue this exact same trajectory when he releases his ball, right? So I'm not too sure if that is 100% true, but I believe the like for us one-handers, right? For one-handers, we're very used to a much higher backswing, because we don't have to consider our left hand. So this is the backswing of Brad Miller, the slow motion release of Brad Miller during one of his he was bowling in Open Championships, I believe 2000. This looks like 2019, maybe the PBA World Series of Bowling in 2019. Okay, and if I compare to my own backswing when I was bowling two-handed, so maybe I can just drag and scoot a little bit here, and maybe I zoom into my picture here. You can see that obviously the picture is not okay. Actually the pictures are pretty close. So you can see that my spine tilt is pretty similar to Brad's, right? Brad Miller actually has quite a lot of forward spine tilt during his this is the height of Brad's backswing, and you can see that his backswing is obviously a lot higher, right? It is this distance above his head, whereby my backswing is actually this distance below my head. It's about the same distance below my head, but it's actually slightly lower than my head. So there's a big difference in the height of the backswing, and when a one-hander converts to the two-handed swing, right? They are simply not used. Their body is too used to having a high backswing that the body tries to replicate that with the two-handed motion. And when the body tries to replicate that, what happens is that it will result in this, I believe it results in this warping motion, whereby because your right arm, because in the two-handed arm swing, right, where both your hands are connected to the ball, you simply cannot go any higher. Your backswing is limited by just the length of both our limbs, because I can see here actually this is the maximum that Brandon can actually extend his left hand, right? Which he's doing a pretty good job because both his limbs are pretty long for just like a male, right? Because he himself is pretty tall and he's pretty slender and slim as well. So his arms are really, really like he doesn't have much of a belly getting in the way. His shoulders are slender and slim as well. So he's actually pretty flexible. And this is really the maximum that Brandon can do with his two-handed backswing. So I believe like part of there are a few reasons that causes Brandon to have this warp backswing. To summarize, the first reason is that his ball placement, he places it in a weird position. He places it to the right during his placement, and that right placing when he places to the right because he places his ball to the right during the start of his swing. That roundabout motion of his swing, that means he swings this way, swings around his body, causes this. And the second reason could be that because he used to be a one-handed bowler, he was bowling one-handed for at least like a month or two. So he's much used to a much higher backswing. And when he converts to, when he's trying a two-handed ball swing, his body tries to replicate the high backswing, and it also results in this warped backswing motion. So for Brandon, most of his issues stem from that. So obviously, there are issues with his finishing position, right? So for Brandon, he's just a casual bowler. He hasn't like gone any official training and all. So if we look at his finishing position, he's actually knee bend. For such a tall guy, his knee bend is excellent, right? He has excellent feet strength, um, excellent knee bend. His extension of his right leg is excellent as well. Great extension. Spine tilt is actually pretty good. His bowling shoulder is actually dropped low. So the only downside is that his balance arm isn't parallel to the foul line. So in a perfect like finishing position for any bowler, one-handed or two-handed, you have to extend your balance arm or your non-bowling arm to be parallel to the floor or the foul line. Parallel to the floor is what is a more correct term, right? Parallel to the floor. That will give you better balance. But other than that, actually, his finishing position is pretty solid. So he might be like, if he hasn't been bowling for very long, he's actually quite a talented bowler, quite a talented athlete. Obviously he's rolling his ball forward because he mentions that he's very new to bowling, so he wants to get the accuracy and just wants to understand like the proper form of bowling two-handed first to get his body used to it before he attempts to even hook the ball. So pretty much that's it. So actually most of Brandon's bowling form is actually pretty solid. He does a four-step approach, which you can see here. I did actually explain to Brandon in like private messages that his timing is a little bit on the early side. We call it conventional timing. So this conventional timing is still taught pretty much commonly, I believe, in Europe as well as US. In Singapore as well, some of the more experienced coaches, the older coaches, are still teaching conventional timing. So in other words, because Brandon does a four-step approach, right? So what Brandon is doing in the conventional timing is that when his right feet moves forward, he's actually moving his ball at the same time. And if we play the video, we will see it here. So his right feet moves forward, he's moving his ball at the same time. So this is what we call a conventional timing for the ball placement. If you were to look to my Dara Payat video, so Dara Payat is I think the best, the clearest video that illustrates what we mean by delayed ball placement timing. So in modern one-handed as well as two-handed bowling, especially in Singapore, we are trying to teach our bowlers more delayed ball placement timing so that they can have a more compact swing, faster swing as well. And then when the ball reaches the foul line, like when their feet reaches, so because of the delay in the ball placement, ideally their feet should reach the foul line first before the ball reaches the release point. Because in this motion, right, you will see that in the case for Brandon, when he finishes his slide right here, his ball has also reached the foul line. So he reaches the foul line in what we call conventional timing. Because he starts the ball in the conventional timing, he reaches the foul line in the conventional timing as well. So this is really not the best timing for generating power because you don't have that delay in your ball reaching to the foul line. The delay is really good for bowlers who want to do additional things to the ball. If you want to have a flick release, if they want to go underneath the ball, you want to do anything additional, or they want to rotate their hands during the release motion. If they want to do additional motions to the ball, the best is to have that delayed ball release timing. So in this case, Brandon actually has a conventional ball release timing. And other than that, that's as much as I can comment on Brandon's form. So thank you very much to Brandon for sending the video over for review and allowing me to do a review video and publish it on YouTube. And so I hope this helps any of you guys who are trying to be two-handed bowlers or converting from one-handed to two-handed, and you have the same issue as Brandon, that means having a walk backswing. Then we hope this video is useful and educational to you. If you're staying in Singapore and would like to have lessons with me, you can contact me via my WhatsApp number listed in the video description below. Otherwise, if you're from other countries and would like me to take a look at your videos via video review on my channel, Feel free to submit videos of your bowling to my various social media channels such as Facebook, Instagram, or even Twitter. I've also recently launched my website as well at bowlingwithcoachcharlie.com. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time.